Hello, my name is Alina Phoenix, and I am a certified emotion code body code practitioner, among other things. And I'm here to talk to you today about those particular modalities. You can actually get the book, Emotion Code, by Dr. Bradley Nelson. This is my Kindle version because I lent out my hard copy and never got it back. Or you can actually get the Body Code book, which this one was released earlier this year. Both of these books will teach you about the modalities and how you can actually do those for yourself or your loved ones or family members. And that's all you need in order to be able to learn how to do this for yourself. And as long as you are not charging other people or doing it professionally, you can do it as much as you wish on your own. And the books are all you need to do that. So links are going to be below in the comments that you can get those on Amazon for your convenience. But I just kind of want to talk to you today a little bit about what those modalities are and how they work. So emotion code allows us to release trapped emotions from our energy field. A trapped emotion can happen anytime that we feel something so intensely that we're not able to get to the point where we can process it, release it, and let it go. And when that happens, it becomes trapped in our body, and that can lodge anywhere in our physical being, and it can cause physical discomfort or dysfunctions. The more of these accumulate. We also refer to these things as our baggage or our triggers, because wherever we have a trapped emotion going on in our body, that can actually make us more prone to feeling that same thing more easily and over again in our lives. So with emotion code, we actually have a chart of 60 emotions. Let me see if I can get that up for you. So it's actually a chart that you can get as an app, a free app in the App Store called the Emotion Code, that has the 60 emotions that we are working with. And when you go through this chart, you can actually tap on the chart and it will give you definitions of each one of those emotions as you go through. So sometimes if something will come up and you're not sure if it applies to you, reading the definition can really help to clarify, because we don't always use the same words to describe things. So we use muscle testing to find the emotion that's the issue, and then if I need to know more information. More information is generally the age at which it happened. Age can be plus or minus 1 year, because we're not usually walking around going, I'm 26 and I feel discouraged. Like, we just don't think that way. And so age can be plus or minus 1 year. Also, we all have a box in our brains labeled do not ever think about again. And when something is particularly traumatic or bothersome, we have a tendency to chuck it in that box and to try not to ever think about that again. And so if you do happen to have something comes up and it does not have a particular memory associated with it, that is okay. That's one of my favorite things about this modality, is that we can release these trapped emotions without the need to exhume the memories and relive that trauma, but we can still release the energy that is associated with it. So when you come to me for this kind of work, I'm the one that identifies the emotion. I'm the one that identifies the age. You don't have to tell me anything at all that you are not comfortable with. And we let that go safely, easily, and permanently. Other things that we might need to know about an emotion that comes up is if they are absorbed, inherited, or perhaps even past life. Absorbed emotions happen for those of us who are particularly energetically sensitive, also known as empaths. We can feel intensely the emotions of other people. Sometimes we will even feel this so intensely that we'll just go ahead and pick it up and then carry it around like it belongs to us, because yay, we don't have enough of our own problems. We want to go ahead and absorb and process for other people. And so we can release those types of emotions as well. Inherited emotions happen anytime that we have an ancestor that is resonating so strongly with an emotion that they're actually passing it down to the next generation. This particular part of emotion code is very interesting to me. Well, first of all, because there's science that actually demonstrates that this is possible. If you look into science around Holocaust survivors or the children who were the product of traumatic circumstances, they actually will resonate with those emotions down generations, even though they weren't the ones that particularly felt that thing. Other experiments that they've done, this one I felt was particularly cruel, but also it revealed some interesting things, is they did a study with some rats where they would put the rats in the cage and they would shock the rats every time they would put in a smell of peppermint. And they would do this over and over again until eventually the rats would smell the peppermint and they would just freak out and panic. Well, once that was established in their neurobiology, they took the rats, they bred them. They then separated the pups from the mother so that the pups were not raised by the mom. And then later, when those pups were adolescents and adults, they exposed them to the smell of peppermint, and the pups freaked out just the same way as the parents did, even though they had never been exposed to electrical shocks from the smell of peppermint at all. So that does show that these kind of things, trauma, fears, intense emotions, can get passed down through genetics, ancestry, however you want to look at that. And we are able to actually release those emotions through this modality. Ancestral emotions are very interesting to me because they have a tendency to affect us in one of three ways. The first way is that it has a tendency to be something that we feel easily and over again, almost like a theme in our life. The second way is that we don't really manifest it one way or the other. We're just sort of a placeholder passing it down to the next generation. And the third way is that we have a tendency to run away from that emotion, try never to feel or express that emotion, try to act opposite to that emotion as often as we possibly can. Depending on where we are in our life journey, we can even be a little bit of a teeter-totter with that, resonating strongly sometimes, running away other times. So it manifests very individually in that person. And releasing ancestral stuff is one of the most sacred things that I am privileged to be able to do, because when we do this, it releases in a quantum process that releases from all past and future generations, not just from you. So from every family member that has ever been touched by any of these ancestral emotions that we release, it releases from everybody in the family line based on your permission. So that's a very, very sacred thing, in my opinion. And depending on how far back that emotion was trapped, we can actually affect a huge number of people with a single release. And anything that we can do to reduce the burden of pain in humanity, in my opinion, is a really important thing that we can do. And then we also can have these emotions coming in through past life experiences. So resonating with the past life is almost just the same as an inherited, only there's no being a placeholder and passing it down. You're either one way or the other, or you're teeter-tottering with it. But we can release any of those from a person. And when I do the session, I like to find how many emotions we can safely release for you at any given point in time so that we can make as much progress as possible. Body code is a very similar modality. Instead of only one chart of 60 emotions that I work from, I have a series of charts that allows me to release over 1,200 different types of imbalances that can affect us on the mind, body, heart, and or soul level. These things can affect any aspect of our life, and this helps us to address things that go beyond the emotion code. So we get a lot of interesting things that come up. Our chakras can come up, our meridians can come up, our organ systems can come up, toxins can come up, thought patterns, post-hypnotic suggestions, offenses against us, other memory fields and things coming down through our ancestry can come up. Dr. Nelson, the developer of this modality, says anything can cause anything, and so that really narrows it down. And so this is a really special modality that can help us get answers, especially for things that are a bit mysterious or that we've been struggling with for a long time that we haven't been able to figure out. One of the things that I like about it the most is that we have to get all of the underlying imbalances. So, as a for example, once upon a time, I had a period in my life where the bottom of my legs were covered in open weeping sores for about 9 or 10 months. My feet were so swollen I couldn't wear shoes. I was going to doctor after doctor, couldn't get relief. None of the creams, none of the pills, none of the prescriptions, none of it was touching it. It just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse. So I finally went to an integrative practitioner who does nutrition response testing. And what they found was that my liver was out of balance, my kidneys were out of balance, and took me off all kinds of different pills and had me use a couple of different supplements that were targeted at my liver, my kidneys, and then a topical for my skin. Once we identified and addressed those associated imbalances, within 2 weeks, everything healed up. Everything healed up. And so that taught me very personally and intensely how important it is to identify the associated imbalances and address those in order to be able to create the healing that we want in our life. So when we identify a body code imbalance, let's say we find that the liver meridian is out of balance. There may be a toxin bothering it. There may be an emotional resonance there. There may be another layer of post-hypnotic suggestions that we picked up from somewhere or something that are affecting us. And we have to clear all of those associated things before we can clear that liver meridian imbalance. But then it helps to create a more complete healing experience in the energy. And it's been my experience that when we address the energy, the physical healing very, very frequently follows. One of the things that I like to do in my energy healing work is I like to give a measure of severity before and after the session that we do. So that's on a scale of 1 to 100, with 1 being no problem at all and 100 being the worst that the problem can possibly be. And so we rate that before and after, and to see how much progress that we've made and how many layers there may be to a particular issue. The goal is to get everything eventually under the number 10, because anything 10 or over is considered some level of crisis by the body. And so we want to eventually get everything under the layer of 10. Another thing to know about this modality is that I'm not allowed to diagnose or treat anything. I'm not a medical professional. I'm an energy intuitive. And so we are dealing strictly with energies. This is meant to be supportive of all of the care that you're getting from your trusted healthcare team, and nothing is construed as any kind of a diagnosis or a treatment. This is simply about rebalancing the energies. So, sometimes things will come up and it'll help solve some of those mysteries that you've been experiencing for a while, and can help lead us to new directions in our physical healing journey. But it's just funny how all that works, how once we release the energies, how physical healing oftentimes will catalyze and follow. And for me personally, I learned all of this to save my own life. They diagnosed me with lupus, scleroderma, and fibromyalgia 6-7 years ago. I don't know, I've slept since then. But they told me that I was going to be permanently disabled by 40 and dead by 50 with their best help. And so I personally wasn't interested in going bankrupt on the way to an early painful grave. So I began this journey to sort of fix myself or die trying. It was when I met a woman who was a practitioner of this, and she did a session for me, which resulted in a huge immediate improvement, that I kind of fell into this and decided that I needed to know everything about it. So my first emotion code body code session was very interesting. It was 2019. I was at one of the lowest points in my life physically. I was literally dying. I was at a clinic in Arizona to get some healing work. And the doctor there, he was examining me and he's like, your heart's only functioning at about 20%. You probably had 2, maybe 3 silent heart attacks. Your bowels are 90% blocked and descended, putting pressure on your bladder. Your circulation is practically non-existent. You've got a massive brain infection and brain swelling. He's like, frankly, I don't even know how you're here under your own power. And I'm like, sheer determination. I was there to save my own life. And while I happened to be there, I met this woman who was an emotion code, body code practitioner, and she was there getting support to heal a shoulder injury from a car accident that they were telling her she needed surgery for. So she was looking for an alternative for that. And so we happened to meet in the course of both doing treatment. Well, we were in the hallway together doing our little exercises and started talking, and I started talking about my issues, and she's like, well, I'm a emotion code, body code practitioner. I think I might be able to help you. And I'm like, I'll try anything if it's not likely to hurt me. And she's like, oh, no way I could possibly hurt you. So I'm like, okay, sign me up. My first session with her, I was on this new diet. I was supposed to be eating at certain specific times of the day. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm supposed to be having my lunch right now. Can you give me 15 minutes and, I can wolf my lunch down and then we'll come to our session. And she's like, bring your lunch with you. And thank God she did that, because the first bite that I took with her, I choked. And that was actually one of the more difficult things that I've been dealing with, but it was not a top of mind issue. It was only really something that I was thinking about like in the middle of when it was happening. And so my first bite, I choked, and she's kind of looking at me and she's like, are you okay? And I'm like, and then I got it down and I'm like, that reminds me, I literally have not been able to eat a comfortable meal in 3 years. Is there anything you can possibly do about that? And she's like, well, let's just go ahead and see. So she found and released 9 different energies in my area of the throat right here. And the difference was immediate. And it was stuff that was coming up from my birth experience, stuff coming up from my traumatic childhood, stuff coming up from my teenage years, things that I was thinking inside of my head that I'd never told her about. Like, she never knew. I never told her about any of this stuff. And she found it and she released it for me. And then I was able to immediately eat the rest of my salad with no discomfort whatsoever. And I'm like, sold! I need to know everything about this. And so that was kind of like God tapping me on the shoulder and being like, hey, you know how you've always wanted to help people? This is it. This is your jam. And it turns out that I have an incredible talent for this kind of work, and it has been instrumental in my own healing journey. I have been able to heal things that were I was told were incurable. I'm not where I want to be yet, and I do have hope that I am going to get there, because healing happens in layers. And it never happens as fast as I want. I don't know about you, but I want it now. But this has been the most amazing, incredible journey in the experiences of healing my own life, and also in the experiences of being able to help other people with healing. And so one of the things that I would like to do right now is to help you just a little bit. And so I would actually like to shield you. If you are listening or watching this video at any time, all you have to do is mentally say yes to accept this shielding process. This is something that I did learn through my emotion code work. And, as I have been going, I have added a little bit of my own flavor to it. And I hope that this helps you. So if you want to be shielded, just say yes right now on the inside and you will accept this shield. So I place a shield around you now. It covers you completely and it is permanent. It blocks all negative energy, but it allows positive energy through. Anytime negative energy is traversing the shield in any direction, it is simply transmuted into only love, light, peace, healing, freedom, truth, and abundance through all space-time continuum in every dimension. Anytime that you need this shield, all you need to do is mentally say the words shields up, and the shields are up, protecting you immediately. There we go. You've been shielded. Now you may have noticed what I was doing with my hands. I was using my little organite wand to amplify and magnify my intentions. I have other videos about organite, and you are welcome to watch those later if you wish. So you've been shielded. One of the things that I do recommend is that you place the words shields up and grounded on your cell phone background. And this will help you to automatically keep yourself shielded throughout the day. Our shields do have a tendency to go down for some reason whenever we are just relaxed or sleeping. And so for me, I like to make things as easy and automatic as possible. Goodness knows enough in life is hard. Let's have some easy stuff, right? So I place those words shields up and grounded on my cell phone lock screen background. So every time that I look at and unlock my phone, I'm giving myself that command to stay shielded and grounded. This, as a energetically sensitive individual and a super strong empath, helps me to stay shielded and to not pick up so much unwanted negative energy from other people and from the world. And goodness knows there's a little bit of it floating around out there. So that concludes what I wanted to talk to you about today. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I deeply, deeply appreciate it. I would like to offer you a little bit of a blessing, a little bit of a discount if you happen to want to do some emotion code, body code work with me. You are welcome to visit my website, phoenixhealingcreations.com. Link will be in the description below. And you are welcome to use the code OmsGirl25 in honor of Evie Omsgirl, who was the inspiration for this video. That is capital OMSGURL 25 in the coupon code box for $25 off of any order $100 or more. This coupon code will never expire, so please feel free to take advantage of that when you come visit my website. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. You know, got to do that self-promo thing, right? But thank you so much for spending this time with me today. From the bottom of my heart, I wish you all of the healing that you need in exactly the manner that you need it, right when it needs to show up in your life. So I wish you a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day.